Welcome, everybody, to the Cone of Shame Veterinary Podcast. I am your host, Dr. Andy Roark. Guys, I am here with the Dean of the Ohio State Vet School, Rustin Moore. But we're not talking about vet school stuff today. Well, we get into a little bit, but I couldn't help myself. But mostly, we are talking about his new book. It's called Unleashing the Bond, Harnessing the Power of Human-Animal Interactions. And so we talked to him about the book. We talked about what he was trying to accomplish with it, kind of where it goes. He shares a number of different stories from it, which are actually quite good. If you're a fan of the human-animal bond, you're going to like this episode. Let's get into it.
This is your show. We're glad you're here. We want to help you in your veterinary career. Welcome to the Cone of Shame with Dr. Andy Roark.
Welcome to the podcast, Dr. Rustin Moore. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing great, Andy. Thank you so much for having me. I really look forward to our conversation.
Well, it's absolutely fantastic to have you here. For people who do not know you, you are a Renaissance man. You are, among other things, you are the dean at the Ohio State College of Veterinary Medicine. You are an author of a brand new book. It's called Unleashing the Bond, Harnessing the Power of Human-Animal Interactions. And that's what I wanted to sort of bring you on and start to talk about today. This book is amazing. I want to know how you describe this. It's a celebration of the human-animal bond. It is an exploration of the human-animal bond. It is like a collection of you look at the human-animal bond just through a collection of stories, and you've organized this so many different ways from different perspectives and around sort of honoring the bond and the bond in service, the biochemistry of the human-animal bond. How do you describe this book, Rustin?
I describe it as sort of a compilation of a comprehensive look at the human-animal bond through a variety of lenses that really blends together the history, the science, and the stories. And the stories are really the thread that pulls it all together. Yeah. I interviewed over 100 people for this book, and the stories are really, I think, it's the heart of the book. There's a lot of other information that's interesting. It's not written to be a textbook. It's written to be a book that anybody could read and hopefully enjoy and learn something. I know my editing team was very frustrated with me when they said, who's the audience? And I said, everybody. And they kept saying, who's the audience? I said, everybody. So it is, I think there's something in it for everybody.
Well, it really does, cover such a wide sort of swath of experiences. I mean, there's everything from talking about the emotional support animals and the bond that we see around mental health and wellness, to the stories of just people, sharing their own reliance on the human-animal bond during a grieving process in their own life. I mean, it really just unpacks all of these different aspects. You're a busy guy. I mean, you're the dean at the vet school. You have got lots of things going on. What motivated you to make this time in your life to write this book? Like, what was the thing where you said, yeah, I've got plenty going on, but this book is what I need to do with my time? What was that? What was that impetus?
Wow. I never set out to write a book, to be honest. I had done a TED Talk back in 2016 called The Power of a Pet. And it was here at Ohio State. And I had just become dean, and a call for applications came out, and I wanted somebody from our college to submit. And on the last day, the last evening, nobody would submit. So I decided to submit an application to talk about the human-animal bond, and that ended up being called The Power of a Pet. I went through the interview process, which means you submit your application, and I didn't really think I had much chance to. And then I got through to the second round, and that's where I got interviewed by about 10 undergraduate and graduate students who run the TEDx program here. Make a long story short, I got in and I performed, and it's out on YouTube. Fast forward to fall of 23, I get contacted by the founder of a publishing company that says, I saw your TED Talk. I really think you should turn this into a book, and I'd like to help you. And I said, thank you very much. That's very nice. I don't have time. I'm not the right person. I did that 3 times on email. He then was very persistent, and he wanted to talk to me on video.
Yeah.
So we talked, and When I got off that call, and not only did I say, yes, I'll write a book, but I said, yes, and I'll pay you to help me write a book. And the work, what I paid for is editing services.
Yeah.
Not actual writing. So
Yeah.
if I'd have known then what I know now about how much time it took,
Yeah.
I probably would have said no. I'm glad I didn't know because I have thoroughly enjoyed it. I've learned a lot. I've been inspired by so many people's stories, so much so that I have a second book coming out early in the new year as a sequel called Unlocking the Bonds, the Power and Paradox of Human-Animal Interactions, which is not a repeat of anything in book one. It's just taking it further, exploring that bond.
What do you mean when you say the power and paradox of human-animal interactions? Like now, my interest is piqued. Give me the teaser. Give me the teaser.
I'll give you an example.
Yeah. Okay.
Police officers have an immense bond with their canine partner. Love, really connection. Same with military. Yet they put their dogs in harm's way.
Mm-hmm.
Farmers and 4-Hers have livestock who they love and have relationships with, more so than just a financial one. And yet they know the outcome. I can go on, but that's the paradox.
Okay.
And really, we can love them, we can care for them, look out for their well-being and welfare while they're with us, knowing that a time will come when they might not be with us.
Yeah. Okay. So I really love this, Rustin, and I'll tell you why. So I have talked to doctors for a long time, and I have this idea that I call the paradox of the special pet. And the idea is to be a good veterinarian, in my mind, you have to be able to hold two conflicting things in your mind at the same time. And one is that every pet is special, and also that no pet is special, meaning they have short lives, you know what I mean? And like the shelters are full, and there's so many animals that need homes that you cannot hold on. You have to believe and love. And also you have to be able to keep a medical and professional distance because this is our job and these pets pass. And, we deal in medicine and in humane euthanasia and things like that. And so I call that the paradox of the special pet. And that's really right in line with what you're talking about. And so let me ask you this, because I think you are such a unique person with your perspective here. You wrote a whole book celebrating very effectively the human-animal bond and that deep relationship. And you're the dean at a vet school that trains professionals, who are going to perform humane euthanasia. And that's going to be a big part of the job, is to say, we are not going to be able to save every pet, for a variety of reasons, but we're going to have to deal with loss with great frequency. Rustin, can you speak a bit about how veterinarians balance this commitment to the human-animal bond, which is so special that you've talked about, and then also the realities that we face with this, and say, we're there at the end for multiple families in one day. Can give me some advice. How do you think about that? How do you try to raise the next generation of doctors to handle that paradox, as you put it?
Great question. Really important, Andy. I sort of view, if we as a veterinary profession, including veterinary students, veterinarians, veterinary technicians, and the whole veterinary healthcare team, if we can view our work through the lens of the human-animal bond and meet the client where they are and where the patient is, and mostly where the client is, and yes, we get presented with cases where we could save them, but they don't have the finances, or we could prolong their life for another 2 months. But I think we have to be open-minded and non-judgmental and go through the process for what's the best thing for the pet and the client at the time, while also making sure that we somehow compartmentalize and or have systems in place, because if we are euthanizing primarily for financial reasons or others, that takes a toll. And somehow, I was talking to actually someone you probably know, John Geller, the other day. He sent me a note. We were back and forth because he had just had to euthanize his cat. And, he's euthanized a lot of animals in his time, but that really, really, really impacted him to the point I was worried about him.
Oh, wow.
He's fine.
I understand. I get it. I definitely get it.
But, most veterinarians are there, and at least that's what they think they're there for, primarily to save lives and promote health and well-being of the pet or the animal. Well, if we take that same mindset and we say, okay, in the situation of euthanasia, whether it's because of disease, old age, or financial, let's look at what can be the best thing for that pet and that client in the moment.
Yeah.
And it's about, letting them pass with dignity, letting them pass without pain, without anxiety, and really trying to think of it as this, the bond. And it's just as hard probably for that client who can't afford X procedure to have their pet euthanized. But the worst thing we can do is add guilt to that.
Yeah.
And it's not there's no magic bullet for it. But I do think talking about it with veterinary students and actually having them practice with skilled actors these scenarios so they become second nature. And really utilizing the whole veterinary healthcare team, including social workers, if those practices have them or they can access them, that will help take a big burden off of the veterinarian who's performing the procedure, but not having to talk through and listen to all of the grieving and other emotional things that these clients are feeling, or the healthcare team is feeling.
No, I think that's a fantastic answer. No, I really appreciate that. This is something kind of roll around a bit. It is a hard line to walk in, and I think veterinary medicine is in sort of an interesting place right now. I think the day-to-day responsibilities of veterinarians is sort of changing. I really think your book is sort of a refreshing return to purpose and a reminder of what the profession is really about. But I think that balancing those things is hard. It's hard to throw yourself entirely behind, the pets and then also slam into the real world realities. And I think it's a constant battle of saying, well, what is honoring the human animal bond here? I think that's an interesting philosophical question that we probably need to roll around every day, really.
Yeah, and to me, the idea of the human-animal bond is universal, but no two bonds are the same. I mean, I have 3 dogs, love them all. Every bond is different, but there is something universal about the human-animal bond. Yeah. And I think we just need to think of it as this natural sort of law or whatever, or concept, but know that no two bonds are the same, no two people are the same. And we need to therefore evaluate it through the lens of that specific bond at that time.
I hate to ask you, Rustin, to pick between your children, but what's your favorite story in this book?
There's so many, and It is really hard to pick. But I do think that there's a few that I'll just highlight. One is the story about Molly the pony, which happened back right after Hurricane Katrina 20 years ago. She was rescued after being stranded. She was adopted. She got attacked by a dog a few months later and lost the lower part of her right front leg because of that dog bite. And the bond that was formed between her and the person who adopted her, Kay, and what they went through together, doing an amputation, fitting with a prosthesis, changing the prosthesis at least twice a day for 13 years, and going and traveling to kids' cancer camps, Walter Reed Hospital, and others. That pony showed people that you can live a full life no matter what you look like, no matter if you have all your parts or not. And that's a really important one. There's a story about this young man, this kid who had some sort of terminal, really serious illness. And they have summer camps out at Flying Horse Farms, which provides these respite type situations for the kids, but also the families who are caring for them. And there was this child named Ken who was petrified of water. And one of the dogs that was there was a corgi named Samantha. Mm-hmm. And by the time that week-long camp was over, not only was that child getting in the pool, he was jumping off the diving board into the deep end of the pool, and he got the nickname Deep End Ken. Move on to Fiona, the therapy dog, who visited over 1,000 visits to schools and hospitals. I was with her on her 1,000th visit to a local high school. After 5 visits later, she passed away from a septic peritonitis. But what the impact she had, but also the way that she could go into a crowd of people and instantly figure out who needed them. Mm-hmm. Probably because we know now that dogs can smell the aromatic carbons or whatever of various things, including cortisol, on breath and on skin. And so, she knew exactly where to go and who needed her. And then I think the final one would really be around several stories around homeless individuals and the pet and the bond they had with them, and at least 3 organizations that helped that. One locally here, Faithful Forgotten Best Friends, that was co-founded by a lady named Connie Swackhammer, who is in the book. She unfortunately passed away from ovarian cancer a couple of years ago, but that work goes on. But then 2 that you would know, the Street Dog Coalition with Dr. John Geller and Project Street Dog with Dr. Quan Stewart. Those stories are just some of them. And it's hard to pick a favorite.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's just, you just gave a great picture of what the book is like. I mean, it's stories like that kind of back to back. I want to talk with you a little bit about kind of how you wrap the book up. And this comes back a little bit to sort of what you were talking about sort of in terms of training students and the potential for veterinarians to work with, say, social workers, things like that. Rustin, I really like the call to action section. And just, I'm in this place right now where I'm kind of looking at the world, and the world seems kind of out of control to me in a lot of ways. And it's just, everything is so big, and the scope seems so large for a lot of problems. But I'm finding great comfort in the idea that we still have great power at a local level, and there's still a lot of things that we can put our hands on, and the things that we can do in our own day that make a difference and make the world better. And I think that there's, I don't know, I take great comfort in that. Can you talk a little bit about your vision? You know, what does Rustin Moore's comprehensive magic wand, dream big idea look like for how the human-animal bond can sort of be strengthened at the local level?
Yeah. So, I wrote this book to raise awareness and amplify the voices of other people who are doing great work out there. And, if I had a magic wand, I would make sure that there was some level of education about the importance and impact of the human-animal bond in veterinary school, veterinary education. I don't think very many places actually teach it.
Yeah.
We sort of integrate it here or there, but, I even asked our students, I don't know, some time ago, said, how much do we teach you about the human-animal bond? And I don't, we as students, we don't always remember what we were taught, but they were sort of said, well, really nothing. Now that's not true because we do, but so the other thing I think is that it's also about making sure that owners know that the bond is not only bidirectional between them and their pet, it's bidirectional between veterinarians and the pet they're treating, and also the relationship between the two of them, meaning the client and the veterinarian. So part of it is be nice. Part of it is, if you lash out at your veterinarian or members of the veterinary health care team, even because you're frustrated, you're emotional, you're feeling guilty. We try to be non-judgmental in those places, but that is slowing down the process. It's preventing the next client and patient to be seen. It's contributing unhealthy to their health and well-being of veterinarians and the healthcare team. There's so many things that if we all came to this with the whole idea that we're working together, we're trying to accomplish the same thing, and even in times of grief or anger or whatever, be nice. That would go a long way. And then I think the other thing is we need to look at this holistically about the importance of the bond beyond the veterinary medical profession, in the community, in schools, policy making, pet inclusive housing, homeless and domestic violence shelter housing for pets.
Yeah.
It could go on and on and on, which is why there's book 2 in that.
Oh, man. Rustin, this has been fantastic. I am going to go ahead. I'll put a link to the book in the show notes. People can find this book basically wherever they get their books, correct? I mean, I've seen it. I've seen it on Amazon. It's out in the bookstores. And so it is not a hard book to find. Where can people find you online if they want to keep up with you? You've got another book in production. What's the best way for people to sort of keep an eye on you and what you're doing?
Probably on social media. So on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, to some extent X or formerly Twitter. But also I have my own website, particularly related to the human-animal bond in this book. It's rustinmooredvm.com. Of course, email or whatever, however people want to reach out to me. Where the book is available is Amazon, and it's available through Barnes & Noble and Walmart and other places. Most bookstores right now, I don't believe are carrying it in stock.
Okay.
Now, if there was a great demand for it, for people going in and asking for it, they would. But you can order it and get it within a day or two, and it's available in ebook, paperback, and hardback. And probably within 2 weeks, it'll be available as an audiobook narrated by someone other than me, but who is also a veterinarian.
I love that. That makes me so happy. Outstanding. Well, Rustin, thanks for being here. Guys, thanks for tuning in, everybody. Take care of yourselves, gang.
Thank you for having me. Thanks, everyone, for listening. Thank you for all you do to promote, preserve, and protect the human-animal bond.
And that's what I got. Guys, thanks for being here. Thanks to Rustin for being here and sharing his time with us. Gang, if you enjoyed the episode, hit the subscribe button. It's always helpful for the show, whether it's YouTube or on your podcast app. Guys, thanks again for being here. I really enjoyed the conversation. I'm glad you were here for it. Take care of yourselves. I'll see you later.